can see.
I see it.
Got it.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is our group's presentation on rapid eating reduction by Alyssa Casal, Emma Jarvie, Mary Miller, Amanda Smith, and Amy Smith.
The discussion of the original study. The study was done in ABAB CBCB reversal design. Participant of the original study was a 10-year-old male with the diagnosis of autism. The baseline was 80 seconds to consume a total of 6 strawberries. The data collection used was a specialized pager to signal when he should eat. The purpose of the study is to decrease rapid eating amongst the participants. All participants are self-identified rapid eaters who are looking to reduce the rate of eating.
The materials needed are 10 strawberries, all with the tops removed, a plate, the interval timer HIIT workout app, a regular timer, so either a phone timer or stopwatch, the data sheet, dish towel, bubble wrap, and then a computer with access to video recording, and the data sheet, which is the rapid eating recording form, which you can see here. The behavior definition: rapid eating is defined as taking one bite every 12 seconds or less. An example would be taking continuous bites of food without pausing between bites, averaging one bite every 11 seconds. A non-example would be to place food into one's mouth without chewing or swallowing, or to spit the food out.
The data collection system used was the ABCD reversal design. It was used to evaluate the effect of the tactile eating prompt on eating pace, and used to compare the effect of fading the tactile prompt by intensity versus frequency.
For the procedures in our baseline phase, while seated at a table, 10 whole strawberries without stems will be consumed by the participant at mealtime. When the first bite of food is put in the participant's mouth, a timer will be started. The timer will be stopped once all food has been consumed, and the length of time taken to consume the serving of strawberries will be recorded.
For the pager training phase, you would want to use a food other than strawberries, so we used grapes or melon chunks. And we set the timer on the HIIT workout app for 8 minutes. And on the HIIT workout app, an interval timer within those 8 minutes will go off every 20 seconds. For you to feel this interval timer go off every 20 seconds, the phone should be in the lap, so that every vibration, the participant was alerted to eat one piece of fruit. So in the first training session, the participant kept her hand on the phone to feel the vibration with its full force. And then after the first session, in sessions 2 to 5, the hand was removed from the phone and just used on the lap to feel the vibration. In a training session, counted as each 20-second interval vibration. So one vibration would be session 1, and then the second interval vibration would be session 2, and so on. And we recorded ourselves during each of these training sessions so that we could go back and look at our videos to determine if we had mastered the pager training. And the mastery criteria counted as when you only ate one piece of fruit only when the phone vibrated, and that needed to last for 2 consecutive trials.
For the next phase, the pager prompt phase, after the pager training's completed, the pager prompt will go into effect. In this phase, the phone with the interval timer application running will be placed on the participant's lap. This time, the intervals will be set out set to 18 seconds instead of 20 seconds, and the overall timer will be set to 7 minutes and 48 seconds. No reinforcement for eating at the correct time will be offered, and the pager will run during all bites taken.
For the phase pager fading low intensity 100%, we made it low intensity just by placing a dish towel between our lap and the phone, so that faded the force of the vibration a little bit. And in this phase, the interval timer was set to 18-second intervals with an overall timer set to 7 minutes and 48 seconds. So in this phase, you only would eat a strawberry every time you felt the vibration.
For the next phase, this was the low intensity for 50% of the time. The timer will be turned to a low intensity with the dish towel between the phone and the lap. The phone will be on the participant's lap for the entire strawberry eating session. The interval timer will be adjusted to go off every 36 seconds instead of 18 seconds. So the participant will only receive vibrations half as often. The participant should try to continue eating a strawberry every 18 seconds. So by the time the 36-second interval vibration occurs, the participant ideally should have eaten 2 strawberries. The overall timer will be set to 7 minutes and 12 seconds to adjust the 36-second intervals.
The next phase was prompt fading muffled 100%. So to muffle the vibration, we added bubble wrap with the dish towel. So the layers went the phone on top of the bubble wrap, on top of the dish towel, on top of the lap to make the vibration even less intense. For this phase, the interval timer was still set to 18-second intervals with the overall time set to 7 minutes and 48 seconds. And participants were supposed to eat 1 strawberry per vibration. Oh, sorry, I forgot that this was me too. The last phase was no intensity 0%. So the phone is still on the participant's lap, but the interval timer is not set. So the overall timer is still going so that duration data can be recorded. And then the phone is still on the lap, so the feeling of the prompt is there, but no prompt is given.
IOA was taken by IOA data will be collected by each participant by filling out an inter-observer agreement data sheet as seen on the side of the slide. Each participant will independently collect the IOA data for 24% of the sessions across all phases and will record videos of themselves during each IOA data collection. IOA will be calculated using total duration IOA, in which the shorter duration collected will be divided by the longer duration collected, then multiplied by 100. Emma, I'm going to adjust that, but Emma will review Mary's videos. Mary will review Amy's videos. Amy will review Amanda's videos, and Amanda will review Alyssa's videos, and Alyssa will review Emma's videos.
So for the procedural fidelity checklist, for the baseline phase, it'll be 10 whole strawberries with the stems removed on a plate. The interval timer is not used. The timer starts when the participant takes the first bite, and then it ends with the last bite of when the last bite of the strawberry is swallowed. And the duration will be in seconds of the time eating strawberries is recorded. For the pager prompt phase, 10 whole strawberries again. Interval timer is set to vibrate every 18 seconds. The timer is placed on the lap. It starts when the participant takes the first bite, and the timer stops when the last bite of strawberry is swallowed. The participant should only take one bite of strawberry when the interval timer vibrates, and then total duration will be recorded in seconds. For low intensity 100% phase, again, 10 strawberries, the timer is set to vibrate every 18 seconds. It's placed on the lap with one layer of a dish towel. It starts with the first bite of strawberry and ends when the last bite is swallowed. And it's in seconds, the duration is in seconds. For the 50% phase, it'll be 10 strawberries. Interval timer set to vibrate every 36 seconds. The timer's placed on the participant's lap with one layer of a dish towel. It starts when the first bite of strawberry is taken and ends when the last bite of strawberry is swallowed. Duration is taken in seconds. For the muffled phase, 100%, 10 strawberries, the interval timer set to vibrate every 18 seconds. The timer is placed on the participant's lap on top of one layer of a dish towel and one layer of bubble wrap. It starts with the first bite of strawberry and then ends when the last bite of strawberry is swallowed, and duration is in seconds. And then last phase is no intensity, 0% phase, which we return to baseline, which is 10 strawberries. Interval timer is not used. It starts when the participant takes the first bite of strawberry and ends when it's the last bite of strawberry swallowed, and it's taken in seconds.
So some of the literature that we found on rapid eating included an article called Reducing Rapid Eating in Teenagers with Autism, Use of a Pager Prompt. And within this article, it was a little bit different than the study that we replicated. This article used a reversal design, and instead of using one preferred food, they had multiple participants and used preferred foods of each participant, so it ended up being different foods for each participant. They still used a vibrating pager prompt, but they also offered verbal praise, which we did not do in our replication of our study. And with their results, they found that their prompt was not able to be faded out, so the participants became prompt dependent and would not slow their rapid eating without the vibrating pager prompt. Another article that we found, another study, was titled Reduction of Rapid Eating in an Adolescent Female with Autism. And within that study, there was a reversal design within a multiple baseline across settings design. And they focused on foods that were eaten with hands, so for their study, their foods that were eaten with hands that they used were chips and salsa and bean burritos. And another important aspect of their study that we did not have in our study that we replicated was that they weighed the foods to ensure consistent amount of food consumed, while we did not. They also varied their intervals and implemented a rule stating to take a bite only after chewing 20 times, where we only took bites after a certain amount of seconds, not after a certain amount of chews.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. For my baseline, it shows that I ate quickly. Once I started the pager prompt, it went up. It took me a little bit longer. Baseline, it came back down a little bit. And then after that, it was pretty consistent with slowing down just a tad when eating the strawberries with each phase of intensity. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
I would just say that you can just say here's like the data table with the exact seconds for each session or each phase. Yeah, for each session. You probably don't need to read through all of it.
Okay, sorry, y'all.
That's okay.
This is the total duration in seconds of time it took me to consume 10 strawberries. So it does seem like the baseline was a little bit quicker than with the prompting. As you go through the phases, it does drop down a little bit, but not quite as the first baseline for the baseline 3 at the end of the study. And these are my averages and ranges for each of the phases for my strawberry eating.
Okay, so this is my graph of my data for the strawberry consumption. It looks like my baseline was fairly low. Then it was pretty effective. The pager prompt was really effective and changed it. And then again, baseline, it went back down quite a bit. And then again, it stabilized after that with the pager prompts. And then it's maintained after the fading of the prompt. And then baseline, the last baseline, it did go back down some, but it was still I was still slower in eating the strawberries than I was in the initial phases. Here is my data table. My baseline, the lowest was 87, and then I think my longest duration was in the 10th session, and that was 477 seconds. And then finally, my averages and ranges. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that.
So this is my strawberry eating graph. My baseline started out with a pretty low duration. I definitely am a very rapid eater, or was. When it moved on to pager prompt and I was actually forced to wait for a vibration to take another bite, I had a lot of time added in my duration and it went up considerably. When it went back down to baseline, I was much more rapid. And then as we continued with pager prompt and the different intensities, I continued having a higher duration of seconds. And I ended up, when we got to 0 intensity, keeping a relatively high duration, which was much different from my baseline. This is my data in table form. So it just shows all the different session numbers, the phases, and the durations. As you can see, my baseline sessions at the very beginning were all single digit or double digit seconds. And then as we got further and further with our different phases, my time started going up much more. These are my averages and ranges, just to show how, on average, with each different phase, the data had changed due to the different phases.
Here is my graph for strawberry eating. You can see for my baseline, I was a relatively rapid eater, and the pager prompt phase shows that it was effective. And then back down to baseline, I, again, was eating more rapidly. And then it maintained, and I was able to successfully fade the prompts of the interval timer. And then for the no intensity phase, I was able to maintain a higher duration than in baseline. And here is my table that outlines all of that. In baseline, I was ranging about like 120, relatively rapid. And then with the prompts, I was able to get up to my highest was my highest was actually in the no intensity, which was oh no, my highest was in the pager prompt 275, but then in no intensity, I was able to do 259 seconds. And then here is my averages and ranges for each phase.
Here's my results for the strawberry eating. Time spent, you can tell with the baseline, I was quite a rapid eater. And once the pager prompt was implemented, it went up quite a bit. Again, back down when implemented baseline again. And went up even more once pager prompt was implemented again. From there on, it's kind of staggered. The longest time was the low intensity 50%. I was able to really slow down my eating. And then it kind of dipped down a little bit and then kind of get back up. But throughout the entire time, they were able to stay above baseline results. This is a table for my total duration of seconds it took to eat 10 strawberries. You can see in seconds, the quickest time that it took me to eat 10 strawberries was 90 seconds. And the longest was actually within the low intensity 50% of 476 seconds. This shows my averages and ranges. It's quite a variety here. I think that for me, the best phase was the low intensity 50%. I really was able to reduce my rapid eating, but within all the averages, I was still, again, able to stay above both baseline phases.
So these are everyone's IOA results since we all reviewed each other's videos of our eating. I had very high levels of inter-observer agreement, with my lowest being 95% and my highest being 100%. So that just showed that the total duration taken on my videos compared to the total duration that the person who had to watch my videos got were very similar to each other. So that resulted in a total duration IOA of 97.8%.
Are we each talking about ours here?
I think so.
Okay.
My total duration IOA ended up being a little bit lower, 91.7%. My highest was 98.5. I mean, 99.2.
For my result or my IOA, our total duration IOA was 99.6%. And my highest for me and my partner for this was 99.8. And our lowest was only 94.8. So we were pretty spot on and similar with our results and our data collection.
For my IOA, it was my lowest was 95.7 and my highest was 99.4 with a total duration IOA of 98.2. So it's pretty good.
My total duration IOA was 99.9, which is pretty good. The lowest IOA was a 98.6 in session 3, and then the highest was 99.6 in session 19. So we were very, very close. So in conclusion, we can say that our intervention was overall successful. There's increased duration of eating for all participants. Everyone was able to successfully fade out the interval timer in all phases. Every condition resulted in an increase in duration from baseline from every participant. Increased duration was maintained in the no intensity 0% condition, showing that there was experimental control. The participants didn't seem to be prompt dependent, since when the vibrating prompts were faded, duration stayed at increased levels from baseline for all participants, which is awesome. And vibrating interval app was a successful cue for behavior change in this study, as shown by the results.
Okay, we came up with a pretty decent list of possible limitations to this study. And not all of them apply to the original study, but they're more limitations that we came up with in the replication process. So the first thing we found was that strawberries were not a preferred food item for most group members. We all like strawberries. I don't think anybody really said they didn't like them, but I really had no desire personally to rapidly eat strawberries. Another food may have been more effective to use for me. And I feel like maybe the other group members might feel the same, that perhaps it would have been wiser for us to use each individual's preferred food item instead of using just strawberries. The second thing we came up with was that we chose 10 strawberries, but we found quickly that we became satiated on these. So 10 strawberries essentially was too many. And now most of us are pretty tired of strawberries. Another limitation we came up with was that we all felt that we were kind of aware of the timer. And sometimes I personally would count between bites, like count how many seconds in my head to try to make sure that I was eating slowly. And I almost wonder if that awareness might have affected what I would do, like what I might do if I didn't have the timer available to me. Another one of our group members noticed that the timer application felt like it was a visual distraction. So with the way the app was set up, it would change colors on the screen when it would go from interval to interval. So that color change may have served as a signal to take a bite rather than the vibration. And that could have changed our results or how the study played out. Another big thing we felt was influential was the potential Hawthorne effect. We all were very aware of our own data and how it was being used and what the purpose of the study was. And we all kind of felt that there was concern that we might have acted differently because we were part of the study and we knew what the goal was. And that can be a huge threat to our internal validity and external validity of our study. Finally, we have two more things to talk about here. One was the procedural fidelity. We noticed that the size of the strawberries varied. Some group members may have taken a bite each interval time, while others ate a whole strawberry at each interval. I personally had strawberries that were quite large, and there's no way I could eat a whole strawberry in one bite. So I may have eaten 10 strawberries, but I had to take more than essentially 10 bites of strawberry in each session. So if you look at my data, you'll notice that my durations were quite a bit longer than other people. Some of mine were up in the 400 and some second range, and most people were quite a bit lower than that. What else? So we would need to, again, be more specific next time as are we taking a bite each time or eating a whole strawberry at each interval so that we can be more consistent in that department. And finally, when we were collecting IOA data, we noticed that sometimes it was hard to tell when the other individual had actually swallowed their last bite of strawberry to know exactly when to stop the timer. So that might have caused some fluctuation in when we stopped the timer versus when they may have stopped the timer because we couldn't quite tell.
Here is a list broken down of how everyone contributed to the presentation. So this actually concludes our presentation, and we are now open to any questions.